We know that an incident occurred which led to your separation. We also know you haven't said anything about this.
So it was a very difficult time, and we are a family.
After their years-long ugly divorce battle was seemingly winding down, now reports are coming in saying that Angelina Jolie is planning to pen a devastating tell-all book about Brad Pitt.
I didn't know if I never felt calm. I couldn't sleep. Nothing was ever enough, and had voices.
Brad Pitt's once untouchable golden boy image has crumbled as Angelina Jolie drags his darkest secrets out of the shadows and into the public spotlight.
I see it, and I see it rising, and the only thing I can do is to use my voice and encourage others and raise my children to know right and wrong and to...
From ugly custody battles to an abuse scandal that refuses to die, Pitt's reputation keeps sinking. Add in Jennifer Aniston whispers and Hollywood gossip, and suddenly his downfall looks uglier than anyone expected.
Angelina's always held off on an expose because she values her privacy, but Brad's backing her into a corner.
Brad Pitt, the so-called heartthrob, the nice guy packaged as a humanitarian, philanthropist, and Oscar-winning producer. Marketed as the perfect cocktail of talent and charm. The kind of man your mom wanted you to marry and your dad wanted to play golf with.
All now are just think he's a monster. One might say, well, that's evidence that Pitt is a monster.
But peel back that glossy facade and what's left? A man drowning in alcohol, wrecking marriages like cheap furniture, children who reject his last name, and lawsuits circling him for $500 million. Now it's 2025, and Pitt's headlines don't read Hollywood icon anymore. They read washed-up dad suing his ex-wife over wine while his kids sprint away from him like he's the plague.
There are many people denying the history or saying it wasn't as bad or trying to, of course, many people want to forget or it's just, it's the horrors of war, and you just simply...
The so-called golden boy has tarnished into nothing but rusted brass. And the real downfall? It all spiraled after one infamous private jet flight in 2016. Decades of acting, producing, and carefully polished PR, flushed in just a few drunken hours at 30,000 feet. Imagine working 40 years to be a legend, only to be remembered as the dad who choked his kid on a plane. That's Brad Pitt's actual legacy.
The real crux of this whole case has always stemmed from this allegation on an airplane.
And if you really want messy, rewind to 2005 when Pitt tossed Jennifer Aniston aside like last season's jeans. Still married, yet already sparking with Angelina Jolie on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The tabloids exploded, Jen got blindsided. And Vanity Fair covered the wreckage back then, and again in 2024. Jen made it clear, she wanted kids. Brad? He just couldn't be bothered.
It's the horrors of war, and you just simply...
Because why raise a family with the woman you vowed to love when you can create a tabloid circus with Angelina and still pose as the victim later? Public opinion painted Jolie as the villain, yet Brad somehow strolled out smelling like roses. Classic Pitt, standing in the middle of the fire he lit, grinning like he's innocent. Even Jen shaded him, saying he lacked a sensitivity chip. Translation: the man's a selfish robot who only ever cared about himself.
TMZ reported something more ominous, alleging, quote, Angelina became fed up with Brad's consumption of weed and possibly alcohol, and mixed with what she believes is an anger problem, felt it became dangerous for the children.
And Jen was absolutely right, because this wasn't just some fling or tabloid triangle, it was Brad setting the blueprint for everything that came after: selfish choices, zero accountability, and leaving women to clean up the wreckage while he posed as Mr. Good Guy. His whole career was built on playing the hero for the cameras while acting like the villain off stage. Then came the perfect family illusion. From 2006 to 2014, Brad and Angelina were selling a Disney-level fantasy. Jolie had already adopted Maddox in 2002, Zahara in 2005, and Pax in 2007. Brad swooped in later like Captain Stepdad, legally adopting them and putting on his world's best dad performance. Then came their biological kids, Shiloh in 2006. And twins Knox and Vivian in 2008. The press went feral. Suddenly, they were Hollywood's golden clan, globe-trotting humanitarians, saving the world while holding hands on red carpets. And Brad soaked it all up like wine from his beloved Chateau Miraval.
Women in minority-led films and TV shows. Ever wonder why Brad Pitt's name was randomly on things like the OA, Paper Girls, the Underground Railroad, Sweetbitter, Minari, The Last Black Man in San Francisco, If Beale Street Could Talk, and the new father of—
Speaking of Miraval, let's talk about that power move in 2008. They didn't just buy a $28 million French estate, they bought a brand. A vineyard, a wine label, and their very own fairy tale backdrop. By 2014, they turned the estate into a wedding stage with all 6 kids starring in the ceremony. Maddox and Pax walking Angelina down the aisle, Zahara and Vivian tossing petals, Shiloh and Knox carrying rings. The press ate it alive, branding it the storybook ending of the century. But here's the twist, the same vineyard that symbolized their eternal love ended up being worth $500 million, and also became the battlefield that destroyed them. Because leave it to Brad Pitt to turn a bottle of rose into a courtroom bloodbath.
I don't know. She's one of those big movie stars that are just always professional and always nice to everyone.
And then came the moment that shattered the entire house of cards, the 2016 plane incident. Let's call it what it was, Brad Pitt's career death sentence. September 2016, private jet from France to LA, but instead of a calm family trip, Brad turned into a drunk, raging monster. He allegedly shook Angelina, smashed walls, screamed at the kids, and even poured beer on his own family mid-flight. Yes, Hollywood's golden boy turned a luxury jet into a flying nightmare.
The time they landed in Los Angeles, their family was irreparably fractured.
And it got worse. When the kids tried to defend their mom, Brad allegedly choked one and struck another. Imagine your children having to physically fight you off at 30,000 feet. That's not just bad parenting. That's showing the world exactly who you are when the cameras aren't rolling. The FBI got involved, even filed a probable cause memo, but shocker, no charges stuck. Because in Hollywood, child abuse is just another PR crisis to sweep under the rug.
Los Angeles officials now investigating a child abuse claim against Pitt.
Then a heated argument erupted on a private jet between Pitt and members of the family.
Days later, Jolie filed for divorce. The official reason? Irreconcilable differences. Translation, she was done covering up his abuse. And really, who could blame her? When your husband turns a family flight into Fight Club, you don't stick around for a sequel.
Didn't know if I never felt calm. I couldn't sleep. Nothing was ever enough. And had voices, just couldn't shut certain things off.
And that's how Brad Pitt, once the polished golden boy, began his collapse. He dumped Jen like a coward, faked the perfect family act for years, and then exposed his true self in the skies. The man went from heartthrob to horror show faster than you can say Chateau Miraval.
Reports came out later that the FBI came in to review the circumstances of the infamous flight, but they didn't file any charges, even though it was revealed that the investigating agents did create a statement of probable cause.
Then came the ultimate blow in 2021, Maddox. If Brad thought Pax's anger was just teenage rebellion, Maddox erased all doubt. In court, he flat out said he no longer considered Brad his father. Brutal. And to twist the knife deeper, he reportedly dropped Pitt from official documents. Do you realize how badly you have to fail as a parent for your own kid to legally delete your name like a typo? Maddox didn't just walk away, he hit backspace on Brad's legacy.
Scathing post read, "Happy Father's Day to this world-class asshole. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your presence."
Zahara set the tone in 2023 during her sorority introduction. No, Zahara Jolie Pitt. Just Zahara Jolie. Clear, confident, unapologetic. When your own daughter drops your last name like a knockoff label, that's not a bad day, it's a lifetime achievement in failure. Brad built an entire Hollywood brand around being the perfect family man, but his daughter publicly stripped his name away like it was toxic baggage.
Scathing post read, "Happy Father's Day to this world-class asshole. awful. You time and time again prove yourself to be a terrible and despicable person. You have no consideration or empathy toward your 4 youngest children who tremble in fear when in your—
Then came Vivian in 2024. Working alongside Angelina on Broadway to produce The Outsiders, her name in the program wasn't Vivian Jolie Pitt. It was Vivian Jolie. Imagine being Brad Pitt, once Hollywood's golden dad, and watching your daughter make her Broadway debut with your name scrubbed from the credits. That's not just rejection, that's public erasure on one of the biggest stages in the world.
Weekly sources claimed Brad was devastated. Quote, to him, it was more than a change of name. It was a symbol of a deeper estrangement that has been brewing for years.
But the ultimate mic drop? Shiloh. On May 27, 2024, her 18th birthday, Brad's first biological daughter legally changed her name to Shiloh Jolie. No hesitation, no middle ground. Just a clean legal cut. That wasn't just teenage rebellion, that was a courtroom declaration that Brad Pitt had officially lost the one title he cared about most, father. He spent decades marketing himself as Hollywood's Dad of the Year. By 2025, half his kids don't even carry his name. That's not legacy. That's failure carved into court records.
Had reportedly been a daddy's girl, and there were even reports in April of 2024 saying she had decided to move in with Brad next door to spend more time with him. However, only a month later in May, 3 days after Shiloh's 18th birthday, Shiloh filed to legally change her name to only Shiloh Jolie. And her lawyer cited painful events in his client's life as the reason for the change.
Now let's uncork the wine war. Because of course, Brad couldn't just lose his kids, he had to torch his dignity in business too. When Angelina decided to sell her half of Chateau Miraval in 2021, Brad tried to rope her into silence with an NDA. Translation, he wanted to muzzle her from ever speaking about his abuse by dangling her business stake like a carrot. That's not entrepreneurship, that's cowardice in a wine cellar.